Hello everybody, Joel Tadman here from Golf Monthly, and welcome along to West Hill Golf Club for one of the most exciting videos. I think you'll agree, one of the most eagerly anticipated driver videos. This is the review of the new Callaway Epic Flash and Epic Flash Sub-Zero drivers. Callaway making some big claims about this driver in terms of ball speed, and that is all down to this new flash face. Now you can read more about that on the Golf Monthly website, of course, but I'll try and summarise for you what it's all about. Basically, Callaway spent $8 million on a new super computer, and what that computer was able to do was go through an awful lot of design iterations, impact simulations, to essentially create a unique internal mapping behind the face. So rather than your conventional Callaway VFT face or the X face they've done previously, this is actually a very unique kind of random ripple effect behind the face. I'll show you a picture of what that kind of looks like on your screen now. And essentially this has been proven by machine learning on the computer. So it's gone through lots of different processes and it has come up with this design that it has calculated to be the most effective at creating the most amount of ball speed across the face. Other technologies we've got going on here with this, so this is the Epic Flash. We've got obviously the jailbreak technology, which we saw in the original Great Big Bertha Epic drivers that these replaced from 2 years ago. And we've got a movable weight here in the back as well. So this is a 16 gram movable weight here from the fade to draw bys. I think you've got over 20 yards of dispersion adjustment depending on the shot shape or impact location on the face you tend to strike the ball. You can choose your preference on that. We've got a new triaxial carbon here, so the carbon fibre here has got a tighter weave. You can actually see it looking closely, essentially making it a little bit more efficient and saving a bit more weight here to reposition the weight. This has actually got a higher MOI than the Epic driver, but not as high as the Rogue driver. The Rogue is staying in the range for 2019. Like I mentioned, there's two different versions. So this is the Epic Flash Sub-Zero, the difference being it's a little bit shorter from front to back. The movable weight is only 12 grams and it's got a fixed weight here in the front. I'm not exactly sure how heavy that is, but it is adjustable via a fitting. They can tweak that to adjust spin rates, swing weights, etc. to really dial yourself in. They're claiming it's over 1.5 miles an hour quicker in terms of ball speed, 6 yards longer on average than the Great Big Bertha Epic drivers. So it'll be interesting to see if that is the case. Before we come on to the performance we got on the launch monitor, let's talk about the looks of these drivers, because they're certainly very polarizing. You see on both of them, we've got this green and yellow color scheme here. Looks very much like the Jamaican flag or the South African flag, depending on how you want to look at it. But you know, it's got lots of shelf appeal, looks very cutting edge. But looking down at address, there's a couple of things to point out. The first is that the Epic Flash does look an awful lot longer from front to back, so that's going to inspire a little bit more confidence for, you know, your game improvers, someone who wants a larger profile at address. The Epic Flash is going to deliver that. Both of these drivers have this grey line on top of the crown, which I just don't get, to be honest. I really don't like it. It's curved, it's not even straight, so you can't really use it for alignment. I'm not really sure what purpose it's serving, because it's not a stepped crown in any way. It's not like this line is separating a lower back section, you know, it is all one level. So I'm not really sure what that's doing. So that would be my one kind of complaint about the look of the drivers. You know, it's not as clean as the Rogue driver. Everyone knows I use the current Callaway Rogue Sub-Zero driver in my bag at the moment, and it's got a nice clean look to it. The other thing worth noting with the look of these drivers, there's no speed step crown here. So Callaway have done away with that speed step crown, which they said enhances clubhead speed, although you can, looking at it, see that the top of the crown in front of the leading edge is quite raised, so that often helps reduce aerodynamic drag and give you more clubhead speed. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what the data came back with. So I tested these drivers up against my Rogue Sub-Zero. Unfortunately, I didn't have a Great Big Bertha Epic sample to test these against, but I thought, you know, up against Rogue generation to generation, it'd be an interesting comparison to see what the difference in performance was between Epic Flash and Epic Flash Sub-Zero, and then up against my current gamer, the Rogue Sub-Zero driver as well. So we hit these at Foresight Sports yesterday on the GC Quad launch monitor using premium golf balls, and we hit them on the range here today this morning. And one of the main findings that I got from my testing this morning is that the Epic Flash Sub-Zero is an incredibly loud, pingy, high-pitched sound. Like the Rogue Sub-Zero for me is a very nice feeling sounding driver. It's pretty quiet, it's got a nice thud to it, quite a firm feeling. The Epic Flash, which is this one, sorry, the Epic Flash is certainly louder and more high pitched, but it's not too bad. The Epic Flash Sub-Zero was incredibly loud and high pitched. Obviously you get used to it over time, but it was a big difference from this one to the Rogue Sub-Zero. So that's just something to bear in mind. I think if you use an Epic compared to this one, you will notice a significant difference in the sound of this driver. But it did feel incredibly solid. When you struck out in the middle, you certainly knew about it, and it didn't really feel like that was dropping off on those off-centre hits either. But anyway, that's enough about the feel and sound and the looks of these drivers. Let's delve into the numbers to see what performance we got. So let's look at the data then for the Callaway testing session I did yesterday. So starting with the Callaway Rogue Sub-Zero. Now this was in the spec that I use it on the course at the moment. So this is in my Aldilla Rogue extra stiff shaft, 70 grams I think it is. This is in 9 degrees in the high spin setting. So this is with the heavier weight at the back. Obviously you don't have the option to change the weighting on the new one. So this is the more forgiving option, a bit more high spinning, gives me a little bit more control on the course. So I wasn't expecting this to be incredibly long. Looking at the ball speed here, got an average of 155.5, which is pretty good. You know, it's launching pretty high. 17.6 is probably a little bit too high really. So, you know, when I'm testing indoors, I'm tending to hit it a little bit harder than I would out on the course, maybe hit up on it a little bit more. So it's going to be launching a little bit higher. You can see it's spinning a little bit more than I would like, close to 2,400, peaking incredibly high at 48 yards, an average carry of 273. So not too bad considering this isn't a maximum distance setting. This is a more playable setting. Did get one out there at 283, so it does have the potential to perform in that setting. Got a top tower ball speed there of 157, so still some pretty good base numbers to compare the Epic Flash against. So you can see moved into the Epic Flash in 9 degrees. Now this is in the Project X hazardous smoke shaft in 6.5, so it's a bit lighter actually, 61 grams I think it is, 45.5 inches in length. This was in 9 degrees initially with the weight in the neutral shot shape setting. So while I had an inkling this wouldn't be the setting or the club head that would work best for me out of the two, I did some testing nonetheless, and you can see the ball speed did jump up by over 1 mile an hour to 156.7 on average. You see I did get one out there at 159.3, searching for that elusive 160 ball speed that I was yet to experience at this point. Spin was pretty high, 2,600, flying very high as well, 49 yards, peaking on average, incredibly high, with an average carry of 270. So clearly, you know, this setting, these launch conditions aren't good for me. I would, look at my clubhead speed averaging 108. It's probably likely I would prefer the performance characteristics of that Sub-Zero model, lower spinning, lower launching, a much stronger flight for my clubhead speed. So what we did was, first we switched it down to 8 degrees on the Epic Flash to see what that would do, and you can see the ball speed jumped up by 2 miles an hour on average. Admittedly, clubhead speed was just over 1 mile an hour quicker, but it was interesting to see that I did get some high ball speeds, and there was one shot out there that did break that 160 ball speed barrier that I have yet to break, and you can see there, shot number 27, 161.3 miles an hour ball speed. Done it. Yes. Epic Flash was the first to deliver that ball speed number. As you see, looking at the other numbers, on average, the spin was still pretty high. Flight was a bit too high, but the distance is creeping up there, 278 on average, so that's 7 yards longer than the 9 degree setting. So performance is increasing all the time. Goes to show that the Epic Flash in the right loft setting and the right shaft will deliver some exceptional ball speeds, and I wanted to find out what I could really get out of these drivers, so I switched into the Epic Flash Sub-Zero in 8 degrees, and you'll see in this setting the ball speed did creep up a little bit more to 159.1 on average, and there's 3 shots out there that broke the 160 ball speed barrier for me. You see there's actually one at 161 miles an hour. There's two actually at 161 miles an hour. I'm much preferring the launch characteristics in this setting. You see the launch has come down to around 15 degrees, spinning at just around 2,000, which is exactly where I want it to be. Peaking at 38 yards. I'm loving that ball flight. That's exactly what I want to be seeing, and as a result you'll see the carry went up by 6 yards again to 284 on average. That is incredible carry distance. You see there's one shot out there that went 290 carry, which was actually a slightly toey strike, which is interesting. So some really impressive numbers there. Let's have a look at the club data. You see, I mean, that really long shot, I did have a club speed of 112 miles an hour. So the club speed was creeping up all the time, in fairness. You look at Epic Flash was 109.6, and with Epic Flash Sub-Zero, I was swinging it faster, nearly 111 miles an hour. But don't forget, it looks like a smaller head. It was certainly got a smaller profile to it. Certainly felt a bit quicker, a bit lighter, easy to swing. It does have a lighter weight in the back of the head. Just felt like I'd get on with that a lot better. Some smash factors there in the 1.45, which is very good. I'm normally around 1.43, 1.44 on average, averaging 1.43. In this case, interestingly, the smash factor on Epic Flash in the 8 degree was 1.45. So while the smash was a bit lower, I was getting a much more efficient launch characteristics with this Epic Flash Sub-Zero. An average carry of 284 is very impressive when you consider that was up against the Rogue Sub-Zero, admittedly in a slightly different setting in terms of a higher spin, slightly higher lofted setting of 273. That's 11 yards more. You know, am I losing control of the ball flight in this setting with this golf club? You're looking at the range view of the shots, you'd actually have to say probably not. The dispersion was actually quite tight with the Epic Flash Sub-Zero. You know, are those off-centre strikes losing significant ball speed? Let's have a real closer look, because there's a couple of shots there towards the bottom of my Epic Flash Sub-Zero testing. You know, I've got one there at 274. That was a slightly heely strike. But I think you'll agree the performance is pretty uniform in terms of carry distances there. Apart from those first two shots I hit with the Epic Flash Sub-Zero, you know, the carries range from 284 to 290. So you can clearly see if you hit it on or around the middle, you're getting very good ball speed, and I'm not really seeing a huge drop off. So I'll summarise to say the Epic Flash drivers are very impressive, clearly delivers fast ball speeds across the face. It feels incredibly solid. The sound of the Epic Flash Sub-Zero is probably going to put people off, myself included. I think the looks could be improved, but that said, you know, you get the right shaft, loft and head combination, this is certainly going to maximise distance for you, and I would be very surprised if you didn't experience more ball speed and distance over what you currently play compared to this one. Even if you've got a driver from 2018, you know, on my Rogue Sub-Zero, I was clearly experiencing more ball speed. Even with the Epic Flash, which is not the head for me, in the same loft setting, I'm getting more ball speed there, over a mile an hour quicker. And then when you get dialed in even more, you can get even more ball speed as well, which this test has proven. So hopefully that's given you a good indication about what these Epic Flash drivers are all about. You know, the Epic Flash is the higher spinning, higher launching driver. It's more user friendly, it's larger, it's going to be more suitable for a wider spectrum of players. Your lower swing speeds, potentially golfers who need a little bit more spin to keep the ball in the air and maximise carry distance. Faster swingers like myself will certainly gravitate towards the Epic Flash Sub-Zero model, because that is lower launching, as I've proven. It's lower launching, it's lower spinning, and you're going to create a stronger flight, more carry distance and run overall. Some of these drives are running out to over 315 for me. It's a lighter range of shafts this year. You've got some even flow options there, Project X, hazardous smoke options, again a little bit lighter to help you get more clubhead speed, and I certainly experienced that myself. They come in at £499. That is going to be around the range a lot of drivers are coming into for 2019. £500 is a lot of money, but for me, you know, this is one of the best performing drivers on the market in 2019. So if you're looking to get a new model, make sure you consider the Callaway Epic Flash drivers, and like me, you should experience an increase in ball speed and carry distance as well. But for now, from West Hill, it's goodbye.